What's up, my friend? Welcome back to another video. And first of all, I just wanted to wish you a very Merry early Christmas. At the time of this recording, it's not quite Christmas yet, but I wanted to share a breakdown, a complete Logic session breakdown of one of my original tunes from my original Christmas album called Festive Feeling. So this is the fourth track on the album called Sleigh Bells, and it's personally, I think, my favorite track on the album. And so I wanted to start this three-part breakdown series where we take a look at three different tracks with Sleigh Bells, which is a jazz waltz with big band and strings and orchestra and choir as well, kids choir actually. So what I wanted to do is play through the entire track first, just so you can get a sense of how it actually sounds, and then we'll go through and break down the individual sections so you can see the components that go into it and how I sort of thought about the arrangement and the instrumentation. So before we quickly do that, I just want to give you access to my free composing workshop called the Complete Composer's Framework. In case you don't know about that yet, it's a complete look and breakdown of my complete composing process. So how I think about the initial ideas, how I produce them and orchestrate them, all the way to the mixed and mastered final polished track, basically. So it's a walkthrough of the entire process simplified, and I'll also share with you my virtual orchestration roadmap so you understand how I think about orchestration and putting instruments together. All that stuff is included in this free workshop, and it's on demand, so you can literally watch it anytime. And you can get access to that down below in the description box in case you want it. Again, it's just a gift for checking out this video today, and I really appreciate it. So with that being said, let's kind of get into it. Let's play the track from top to bottom, and then we'll start breaking it down. Here we go.
Sleigh bells are ringing, magical feelings surrounding the town. Children are singing, filling our homes with familiar sound. The gleeful joy inside us, the warmth and love that thrill us. They're shining a light, it burns a bit brighter this Christmas. Sleigh bells are ringing, magical flurries surrounding us all. Street lights, they're twinkling, couples, they're frolicking down City Hall. A picture-perfect daydream, the kind that makes our hearts gleam. Our favorite time is Christmas Day. They go. Sing. Take a ride through the fields tonight and go down memory lane. See the wonder in every child, we feel this way again. Sleigh bells are ringing, everyone laughing, they'd be of good cheer. Won't forget it, join in the moment, the best of the year. A picture-perfect daydream, the kind that makes our hearts beat. Our favorite time is Christmas Day. Tonight and go down memory lane. See the wonder in every child, we feel this way again. Sleigh bells are ringing, magical flurries surrounding the town. Children are singing, filling our home with familiar sounds. favorite time is Christmas Day. Christmas Day.
All right, there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I've always had a soft spot for big band, especially since listening to Michael Bublé back when I was probably in like grade 9 or something. I asked a friend of mine to show me some music that he thought I might enjoy, and he knew I was classically trained and really enjoyed sort of softer, easy listening music, and so he recommended Michael Bublé, and he's been an inspiration ever since. So anyway, let me quickly walk through the piece here, the song section by section. So for the intro, basically, I really believe in a strong sort of ascension throughout the entire piece. I like the idea of dynamic contrast. And while it is true that you kind of want to have one overall vibe for a song, rather than having tons of different things going on all over the place, right? I think there's something to be said for dynamic contrast and building over the course of a song, especially something sort of in this holiday theme. So for the intro, basically, I kept it relatively minimal, and I actually didn't use any sleigh bells there. But if I let me kind of expand this a little bit, I used toy bells and Celeste to kind of create a tinkling sound right there. Right, and then that's sort of doubled with the flutes in there as well, allowing for the overall vibe to come alive a little bit more. And then basically I'm just rounding that off with the regular string sections as well, going contra motion. So make sure I activate the key switch there, with piano there as well. So, and you can hear the drums coming in there as well. And now we're sort of establishing the main groove. So sort of this waltzy feel with the basses and the string ensemble, pizzicatos, and spiccatos in there as well. So the pizzicatos and the spiccatos are essentially setting the foundation for the entire groove, along with the drums. Basically playing on the 2s and 3s. And so with the drums, it sounds like this. And if we add in the guitar as well, now we get that jazzy feeling there as well, right? So it's pretty cool because the guitar's role is usually to just add that comping rhythmic support, and layering in the harmonic foundation a little bit more as well. And traditionally for multi-voiced chords, like multi-part chords with like 4 notes or more and with extensions and stuff, usually the guitar is playing notes like the 3rd and the 7th because those are very powerful chords, or sorry, powerful notes and colorful ones. So they really enhance the overall feeling of the tune, because the piano and the bass, for example, are sort of playing the roots of the chords, so the guitar doesn't really need to do that. So then in the A section, this is when the main vocals come in. You can see that the overall arrangement is quite sparse here so far. Counter melody or response with the French horn. Little response there in the flutes as well. So notice how the first time we have this response, it is in the French horn, which is a little bit lower, and then the second time I kind of contrast that by going higher in the flutes. And both flute patches are the same, by the way. They're both Cinematic Studio woodwinds. I just doubled the second flute down a third, basically, to harmonize. And then the second half of this A section, little French horn counter melody. And now a little string tremolo build up to lead us towards the cadence.
Sleigh bells are ringing.
Right. So that's the first A section there. And then I sort of think about the second one as an A prime, if you will, because it does change a little bit, but essentially it is still the A section. But yeah, arrangement wise, very, very simple. Literally just string pizzicatos, some spiccatos, drums and guitar. And then notice the vocals as well. They're relatively low in my register. So I'm sort of saying da dun da da dun da 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 dun dun da da dun da. Like you can hear that's sort of low in my voice, right? But later in the tune, as we build more energy, that's when I start to transition up to my higher tenor range. And yeah, so let's hear the second A section now and kind of see how this might be a little bit different.
Sleigh bells are ringing.
So first of all, you notice how the sleigh bells actually start coming in now. 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's a waltzy feeling from the Sleigh Bells, and that's the Fracture Sounds Instant Christmas patch. Okay, let's hear that one more time. So now we got the full string section coming in, and the choir as well. Right, so sort of creating that mid-range bed. Now I'm starting to bring in the band as well, the horns. So sax is there, and the trombones playing as well. Trumpets, but the trombones there.
Christmas Day.
Right, so that's basically rounding out the A section. So notice how the big band is basically not playing until the second A section. And I like to, I mean, this is sort of a case in point example of building the arrangement over time, right? The first A section, relatively sparse, no brass or saxes in here at all. Then the second A section comes in, and this is where we start hearing those little ins and outs of the brass. And so we start with the trombones playing relatively quietly. They start to build a bit more. Then the saxes come in and play slightly more lyrical passage before the 2T little ending right here. Right? And then that sort of creates an exclamation point before we round out the cadence authentically with the 5-1 chord.
It's Christmas Day.
Right. So, by the way, this is all in E major so far, and E major is my favorite key of all time. I grew up listening to, lots of pieces in E major, so it sort of grew on me, and it's my favorite key of all time, pretty much. But in the B section, when I was writing this tune, which was actually, I think, one of the last ones in the album, I knew I wanted to modulate. And I didn't know exactly which key I wanted to go to, but I did know that I wanted to choose a key that was relatively far away so that it was noticeable. And it felt like we were taken on a journey further from home, okay? So I didn't want to choose a completely closely related key. Like if it's E major, going to B major would be really close because it's only one sharp difference, or E major going to A major, or something like that. So I actually decided to go up a major third to A flat major. Or you could say G sharp major, but that's not a key. So A flat major would be our key of choice here. So let me kind of play just a bit before the B section so you can hear what that sounds like.
It's Christmas Day. There you go. We sing.
Right, so I hope you could sort of tell the vibe change there, and I would actually love to know from you, if you could leave a comment below, how does this key change make you feel inside? Like, does it make it feel lighter? Does it make it feel more colorful in a way? I'd be curious to know because coming from someone with absolute pitch, it's difficult to always associate key changes with feelings. Because my ear mainly focuses on what the key actually is rather than how it actually makes me feel. For me, the feeling sometimes comes secondary to the key change itself. So I'd be curious to know, when you heard this key change, how does it differ in terms of the emotional impact or the feeling, if at all? Maybe let me know down below. That'd be great. I'd be really curious. So anyway, notice how we change ensembles entirely. So going from my initial solo vocal to a kids choir, I kind of wanted just this light, ethereal kids choir feeling. I wanted that sound, and I kind of interspersed that with this little counter melody right here from the Toy Bells. So it sounds like this. Right. So if you pay really close attention, you might kind of notice where this little counter melody is from. So that is the lick from Sleigh Bells. Right? So I had to arrange it so it was in 3/4 time, and I kind of chose this pattern. But Sleigh Ride is definitely one of my favorite tunes of all time from Christmas. So I kind of wanted to put that in a little bit here. And I did the same thing in the second B section after the show chorus right there. So yeah, that's sort of the main thing there. But the rest of the ensemble is essentially the same with a choir. Took out the strings there for a moment because I wanted, some room to breathe basically in the mid-range. And then here in the brass or horn section, it's basically just the saxes.
Go.
Little response there. Same thing here. Now the second response is in the trombones. Right.
Take a ride through the fields tonight and go down
Trombones again. And then the saxes come in to start playing a lyrical line, and then combines with the trombones and finally trumpets together. Now we're back to the A section. Notice the band here is a little bit more active, so I have these trombone stabs kind of playing syncopated hits, while the saxes play some lyrical lines as responses. So
sleigh bells are ringing, everyone laughing, they'd be of good cheer. We won't forget it, join in the moment, the best of the year. A picture perfect daydream.
Right, so literally just back and forth between trombones and saxes. And then here at the very end, just before the shout chorus, I wanted to bring in the trumpets one more time for that exclamation point, because it sort of hints that right here we have this big buildup with the tutti, like the entire brass section playing basically with the horns, with the saxes coming in afterwards to reply. So because this is a big climax moment with really high energy in the piece, I kind of wanted to hint at that, like anticipation just before that kind of came in.
Favorite time is Christmas Day.
So now it's the trumpets and trombones together. Saxes fill in, and then back to the brass. Saxes, little break. So yeah, right here, now we have the strings taking over just for a moment, because I wanted some variance in the overall melody in the shout chorus. So it was brass, saxes, and then I just wanted to take a little break for the second half of this theme, so put it into strings instead. Trombones respond, and now the horns come in to finish. And then just for a little extra jazziness, I wanted to throw in a little tenor solo in there as well. So I basically wrote on the chart just some slash marks so that he could interpret and improvise however he wanted to there. Just really quickly, for this little string passage, not only was it just the strings, but we have the choir in there as well, and the French horn, sort of doubling what the cello is doing. And I also threw in the celeste for a little tinkle as well. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite moments in the song because it just switches up the texture entirely, going from brass and like a nice ringing brassy sound to something very soft and warm and comforting. And then at the very end of the shout chorus, we go back to the brass. Little solo there. And now we make our way back to the B section, back to A flat major.
Here you go.
And now this second B section, because it's a little bit more high energy, I didn't want it to be identical to the first B section, right? So if we take a look at a more zoomed out view, notice how this B section compared to this B section, there's a bit more going on here in the horns, right? So we have more trumpets, we have more trombones going on here, whereas in the first B section, it was relatively sparse in the first half, right? The trombones come in a little bit later, but here in the second B section, we have much more involvement there in the brass. So the trombones, ba, ba, and then trumpets with there as well. More trombones, and then with trumpets again.
Take a ride through the fields tonight,
and now the saxes will lead us to the final A section.
See the wonder in every child. We feel this way again.
And then trumpets.
Surrounding the town, children singing, filling our home with familiar sounds.
So you notice, I mean, anytime I'm bringing in the trumpets in harmony, I'm usually having the trombones underneath as well to sort of fill out the low end. As a general rule of thumb, you don't really want the trumpets harmonized by themselves unless it's for a very specific effect, as I've learned over the years. So you just want to make sure that whenever you have these brass instruments playing together, it's good to have both the highs and the lows covered at the same time. Right? And then we also have the saxes that sort of come in and out. And now we're back to regular hits and lyrical lines as responses. Shining a light. It's shining so bright. Saxes again, and now we build to the brass. And now everyone together. 2 deep. Christmas Day. Right. So that's the big band section. Let's take a look at the rest of it. I mean, you can see it's actually not that complicated in terms of the instrumentation. The last section I wanted to sing with the kids together. So what I ended up doing was singing the main melody, and then the kids kind of came in between. So let me just play that here. Sleigh bells are ringing, magical flurries surrounding the town. Right, they're basically just responding to me. Children are singing, filling our home with familiar sound. The gleeful joy. And now they're harmonizing me a third below. The warmth and love that thrill us. They're shining a back to call and response. It's shining so bright. And now together. It's Christmas Day. Our favorite is Christmas Day. Yeah, that's just a little something I wanted to do there. I wanted them to sing our favorite is, and then on Christmas Day I would come in and join them on those last 2 words. Our favorite is Christmas Day. Right. So anyway, that's the overall arrangement. In terms of the overall foundation of the arrangement, it was always the drums and the guitar, but also these strings in the middle. So the pizzicatos, the spiccato passages, and then sort of the big band coming in and out as well. But I'm a big fan of combining jazz band with orchestral instruments because it just provides so much more of a variety of textures. The first song in the album called It's Christmas Time, it is just, well, it's primarily just big band, and then there's the occasional string line here and there and some other bells and stuff. But this one, I kind of wanted to lean into the full orchestra as well. So it's mainly strings, some woodwinds like flutes, and the brass with a French horn to blend the warmer feel. But overall, it really is a combination of strings and brass and horns like saxes. And then we have the choir as well, just to switch things up a little bit, because for the rest of the album, I'm pretty much singing by myself with the exception of a duet. But so I really wanted to have a little bit of a variance there in the texture that we hear throughout this record. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions about it, about the arrangement or the chords or anything. Actually, I might as well show you some of the plugins too. I forgot to sort of mention that. So when I was doing the mix, one of the core plugins I used for this was UAD's Sound City plugin. Very, very cool. And essentially it allows you to take like any source you want, any instrument that's been recorded, and place it into this room. So if I solo up the trumpets here, and let's kind of go to the shout chorus one more time and have a quick listen. Let's turn off the plugins here and and see what that sounds like. Right, so it sounds mono, it's remotely recorded in a small room, it sounds like, with all the reflections sort of removed. So if I had that sound in the arrangement, it sounds a little bit weird, right? Because these strings, for example, are recorded in a larger hall, so they naturally have that room sound, and I've processed my vocals so they also sound like it's in a room, or in a booth at least. So I wanted to put the brass or all the horns in a specific room, and this plugin allowed me to do that. So let me play this again, and I will turn the plugin on, and then we'll see if we can hear the difference. Right. Like it's kind of subtle, but at the same time, there's a night and day difference to my ears. And I'm using the reverb mode here instead of remake. You can use either one of these for sure. I just felt that reverb was a little bit more subtle for my purposes. So I brought in the close mic and also the second room mic here, and I sort of changed up the distances sort of according to my own taste. So I kind of wanted the close distance because I wanted them to capture the detail of the original horns. But then the room 2 mic was also relatively close here as well, and this one is fixed actually. Initially, I played around with room 1, but I sort of liked the room 2 sound more. And then I made sure to deselect the solo knob so it actually brings in the dry signal too, and then I kind of mix that into taste. So Sound City is really, really cool from UAD. And then I brought in Al Schmidt from Leapwig Audio. Let's play that again, maybe from here. So this plugin adds some reverb and just a little bit of Al Schmidt processing. And then finally, I brought in Valhalla Room just for an extra touch of reverb. And notice here, I did basically two things. I chose the bright room setting instead of leaving it on the default large room. And I also lowered the decay from 2 seconds to 1.06 seconds. I just basically wanted to have a shorter tail because I didn't want the brass or the horns to sound too ringing in the hall, basically, or in the room. So those are sort of the plugins I went with there. What else? Yeah, so you can see the Al Schmidt plugin on some of these orchestral instruments because I just wanted that slight bit of polish. And most of the processing is done on the vocals naturally. So a lot of it is Melodyne first, just to adjust some of the tuning. This is a really cool plugin, RX11 Denoiser. It's called the RX Voice Denoise from Isotope. So you literally just put it on, it reads the sound from the vocals, and then it sort of cuts out the background noise, which is really, really cool. EQ, compressor, another compressor, which is RVox from Waves, de-esser from Waves as well. Greg Wells Voice Centric from Waves as well. So this is sort of a one knob voice processing plugin, which I really like. You want to do that to taste, of course. Al Schmidt again, and then finally Valhalla Room, just to add a bit more depth to it. And that's pretty much it. And then on my master of bus, I'm doing some EQ and compression. The compression on my master bus really is to just tap very, very lightly on the loudest sections.
Magical flurry surrounding the town.
Right, so the whole purpose of this compressor is just to squeeze the highest, loudest peaks very, very slightly, so it controls the dynamics just a little bit. And you can see I've made up the gain by 0.5 of a dB there as well. And then after that, I threw on mix centric, so just sweeten up the mix a tiny bit there. Also tone centric, add a little bit of warmth and saturation. And then finally, I threw on Ozone 11, which I used the AI mastering preset, basically. And it gave me a general idea of how to master this so it matched commercial standards. So the imager, clarity, stabilizer, these are all modules that come into play, dynamic EQ, and finally the maximizer, really just boosting up the volume there. And then in a separate mastering session, I boosted the volume up even further, but this one at least gets me to that starting point that I'm happy with. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, again, let me know if you have any questions about it. I hope you enjoyed this track. And again, if you want to check out my complete composing process, the free workshop down below is there for you, called the Complete Composer's Framework. Again, it goes through my entire process of how I make music from start to finish. So literally how I come up with ideas, write them down, compose them, and then also processing, producing, and orchestrating and arranging them in the DAW, as well as mixing and mastering them to get a polished final result. So it's all there in that workshop. It's very didactic and practical. I hope you get a lot of value out of it. And again, I want to give it to you as a thank you for watching this video today. Really appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. Again, very early Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Thanks again, my friend. Take care.